All right, so here we go. This is my 71 Subaru Beetle. I'm running a 97 Subaru Impreza Outback EJ22 2.2 liter 16 valve motor. I haven't really done much with the outside. It's still pretty fresh, or still pretty old and rusted. But eventually I'll get around to doing the body. Maybe I'll leave it the way it is and just go all crazy motor. So for those who are curious about the cooling, here we just went ahead and we cut some vents in the front to bring in enough air. We also, I don't know if you can see, put a few slots in there up front. So we have a radiator from I think it was like an early 90s, like a 92 to 99 Honda Civic. Now, for those who are interested, I would almost recommend going with a slightly larger radiator. I mean, it cools okay. It keeps me around 210. But if the optimal cooling for the EJ22 is supposed to be around 170 to 200. It typically runs in heavy traffic, maybe like 210, 220 sometimes, which is fine but if you wanted to run a little cooler, maybe I'd consider upgrading to the heavier dual core radiators. I'm looking at those really sexy triple pass dual core radiators. They're a little pricey, but they're still worth it. I'm running the stock radiator fan from the Civic as well. It's real simple wired. I just have it grounded to the body, and then the plus wire goes to the ECU, which controls the fan, so it doesn't run all the time. Got my overflow bottle right there. So that was pretty simple. So now for the back, I was able to, for the most part, fit the whole thing underneath the deck lid here. Let me bring the light up a little. A little dark. So here I have my EJ22. It's pretty simple. I did cut the firewall there in order to get the air intake. Now, on the 97, it comes with a giant box for the intake, and then it has a pipe that comes out. I ended up actually going to pick it apart and getting this entire air intake off of an older, I think like a pre-96 air intake, and it has the same connections, so it works just fine. I have the coolant lines running underneath. Some people are into the back, which is probably better. Let's see here. Because I got the alternator mount from Out Front Motorsports. It allows you to side mount it. Now, you can turn this entire intake around and have it facing this way, but the issue I ran across with that is if you're running the stock ECU, you have to keep your idle air control, and the idle air control will bang up against this and leave you pretty much no room to bolt it down. Here, the air intake, I just have bolted to the side here with this little bracket, and that keeps it up there. I got the same belt from Out Front. One of the biggest problems I had for a minute was cooling, where I couldn't get it to cool right, to find out that basically it was just a pain in the ass bleeding the system. So I went and I actually got this bottle from, I think it was like a late model Nissan, like a 2000 something Nissan, which was just basically a little expansion bottle. And I ran from the top So the two heater lines, I ran the top heater line directly to the top of the bottle, and then I ran the lower one going down to the thermostat. So that worked great for clearing the air out of the system. It sits higher than the entire system, which got rid of my air bubbles really quickly and took care of a lot of those issues. As far as the throttle cable goes, we ended up having to make a little bracket. I don't know if you can see it there. We ended up having to make a second bracket, so we put a bracket there, and then we ran it around underneath and ended up putting another bracket down there in order to get the throttle cable connected correctly. And then we ended up just cutting the stock cable and just connecting those two. Other than that, it was a pretty simple build. We got the transmission adapter and the heavier duty flywheel and clutch and all that stuff from Outfront Motorsports in Buena Park, so that helped a lot. Everything else wired pretty well. I ended up sending my wire harness out to Subi Stuff in Marietta. It cost me around $5.75 to get that done. You know, the wiring harness is can be a big pain in the butt if you're trying to do it yourself, and honestly for me, you know, it saved me so much time. I just didn't want to deal with it, so I ended up just sending it out to get done. Alright, so I'm going to start it up for you. As far as the fuel pump, I ended up going with a Bosch fuel pump I pulled from a Volvo 240. I got a pick your parts for just like, it was like 20 bucks or so, and it works great. You know, it's a little loud. I'm going to have to probably put like some Dynamat or something on there in order to bring the noise level inside the cab down a bit. But not a big deal, you know. I'll make sure it's working. Oh, another thing you're going to have to be aware of if you do this is if you hook the alternator directly into the wiring harness without doing some modding, it'll always keep your generator light on. You know, I looked around to see if there was an easy fix, and really there is no easy fix. You have to like bypass it and run some weird little thing, because I guess it doesn't run the same way as the Beetle system runs. So be aware of that. You know, I've heard some people just unplug the light off their generator light, but because my alternator is working, it just stays on all the bloody time. So just be aware of that. So we'll start it up. I don't know if you can hear me, but I have a side muffler, which runs pretty loud.